Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back in with another video. No real topic, just got a link from End Times Teacher to go onto this debate, with a group called Israelites Tried and Refined, but they've dropped the Israelite. Okay, so they're actually apparently Tried and Refined now, and this was another channel with a group that's affiliated with them. And so they're talking about, different topics, Mystery Babylon and all that kind of stuff. And so, again, I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do precisely, in the next 60 days, next 2 months, but I don't know. To me, I just find those not that interesting. Again, I only do them strictly to kill time at this point because I'm not changing, my position at this point, certainly with how often I see the sequence in the Bible. I just can't unsee that, and I never would want to. That's just an incredible gift. And so that is the solution, to me, that's within the Bible. And some of them are not even like encoded or one layer below. It's just exactly what it says in Revelation and then everywhere in the Bible. So, there's no undoing that. And I think it's an incredible thing. And that's amazing. Like of all the math problems or things that I've solved in life in, on a test or an exam or the GRE or anything like that, that's the most amazing, solution, because it was handed to me, by God, I believe. And so that's an amazing thing, just to think about, like all the studying and the years of school and all that kind of stuff. It's like of all the things that I'm thankful to have, a solution for, and, would be the Bible. So, I'm very, very comfortable with that. I don't feel the need to defend my position at this point, because of what I know, that it's not for very many people. If what I teach is true, then, people won't get it. They just won't understand it. And at the root of my teaching is the two men in Acts 1:10-11, are the two witnesses. And so for that to be true, then I obviously would have been told that in a timely fashion, and then that would manifest, in my lifetime, which is running short. And so I'm thankful for this deadline. But, I was asking, a couple things, and then they were like, you have to click the link. And so they're basically what I call market makers. And it's the same thing on the flat earth and the ball earth debate. They're always open for discussion, and all that, but nothing will come out of it because nothing true will actually be discerned, because God decides that. And so Christ himself states that he is the truth. So the only thing that we know for sure that's true is what comes from God. And so that's not going to be the spirit of those discussions. It's just random ideas and stuff. So, that's why, ultimately those discussions are not interesting for me at this point, because I've sort of vetted, my teaching, and I haven't found another one, that's reasonable. That's, I would say, anywhere even close. Like there's no backup at this point or anything like that. Like I would not recommend anybody go to any other teaching that I've seen personally. They could be other ones, valid ones out there that I haven't been exposed to. But from what I've seen, if what I teach doesn't come true, I'm saying the Bible's not true. That's my position, and that's what I would recommend. And so, plan accordingly. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen on my timeline, because I don't dictate that. But if that teaching, that sequence, that I described does not happen at some point in the future, then the Bible is not true, because that's what it states is going to happen. And so, that's the situation that I'm in. So to me at this point, pretty much the only thing that could invalidate the Bible is obviously if Christ doesn't return, in my lifetime. And then also if what's going on now is not the mark of the beast. And so if it just goes out and some number of people continue to get it, or even if it halts completely right now and nothing happens from the heavens, then I don't think you should take the Bible seriously, anybody, me included. And so the difficult thing for me is that, and I'm not trying to get pity, because I know people are struggling, so I'm not here to try and get pity for myself, because I consider myself very fortunate to present this solution first and foremost. But I don't have enough resources to see it, just get stepped over kind of thing, without any intervention from the sky. And so if that were the case, I don't know what I would do, actually, honestly. And I don't think about it because, again, I found this earth boring prior to this narrative, and this is just making it worse, putting the last nail in the coffin. There were already tons of nails in that coffin. It wasn't opening, but it just added to it. So, it's not a big deal, for me or anything like that. But, that's what I would say for people who do have the resources to sort of, straddle this thing, I guess. That's what's difficult about the times that we live in now, is that, it's sort of difficult and easy at the same time. It's like you have to make a decision on the narrative that's going on right now. And the way it's designed is that you can't go 50-50 in on it. You have to either do it and just hope that it's not, part of the end times narrative, or, just avoid it, and then ultimately it's going to cost you a lot, and then possibly your life. So your livelihood in the very least. So that's the times that we live in, and so every other topic ultimately is a waste of time. Besides, what is the mark of the beast? Is there even a mark of the beast, fundamentally? And so if there isn't, then what I'm doing on my channel is incredibly evil. Not that if it's a precursor to one, because all the stuff about the law still holds. But then I would reject that God, because, this is like he's making this narrative ridiculous on purpose and for us to laugh at. So to me, the God of the Bible is not to be taken seriously if the mark of the beast is a microchip. It's just, just don't worry about what God's going to do to you, because who cares if he destroys you? You wouldn't want to be a part of what he's going to create next anyway. So that's good. Get rid of me. And so I'd be fine with that. But if this is what's going out is not the mark of the beast, then to me, there is no mark of the beast. And then my channel is evil, incredibly evil, in fact, because I'm telling people to avoid something that could actually, be used to keep a person alive, and then prevent other people from harming one another and all that, just whatever they're saying. Okay. So that's why it's, it's, again, this decision has been made for me because I find this whole setup boring. So I had major complaints prior to this. So I want people to know, like, that's my position, just again, to post another video, just sort of pass the time, I guess. But I'm not on some spiritual high horse or anything like that. Oh, like, all the laws and like I'm the top dog in Israel or anything like, no, I'm like, the law to me is icing on the cake. It's like, oh, really? Oh, the Bible does say that? Oh, okay, great. So I always go with what I feel. If I didn't feel comfortable working at Bed Bath & Beyond or Amazon or any of these places, then I leave. That's just the way it is. Okay. And then I did that a couple times. I went to different companies, but then this system, you can't work for 6 months and then go somewhere else and then work for 6 months. They don't like that. They say that you're job hopping, and then they know that you're not, you're a flight risk. And so that they're not going to hire you after you do that enough. And so I've tried, and I've sampled enough companies where, just from a practical perspective, I don't have an explanation for why I kept leaving. I could, after a few times, you can maybe make up a story, but eventually they're just like, this guy is not the type, he doesn't play along. So, that's just the way it is. And so I've tested it out. And so, that's what's going on. That's what's really at the heart of my channel is incredible boredom, and so that's not going to change, and so that would have existed whether the Bible predicted this system or not. Okay. Whether the God of the Israelites is behind setting it up or not, that wouldn't change anything. Okay. And so, we all have that. And then we see what's going on now. Like, everybody's being stretched, in their job. Doesn't matter who they are. And so, the screw's tightening, on everybody. So I'm not saying that it's unique to me at all. And so, that's what's going on, and so that's a very, very, practical thing and nothing I can change. Okay. And so that's why this, narrative going on is not tempting for me, and so, that's what's going on. So, I guess that one thing that could potentially invalidate the Bible is if they all of a sudden had a worldwide narrative that, was supporting God's laws, And so let's say this thing just stopped or something like that. And they're like, wait, time out on this, whatever. We got enough, good enough. Okay, everybody wants it, has it. And then they all of a sudden, came up with something that worldwide was like, let's, honor one of God's laws or a few of them and force people to do that. You have to honor the Sabbath. Like if anybody calls you on a Sabbath day, you're going to get arrested, that kind of thing. So that would, whoa, then corporations would have to, operate differently, okay, because you couldn't work like all the time and all that. So everybody would have to have a day of rest. And then, let's say they implemented that. They never will. This is like laughable at this point, but it's kind of those kind of things. And then ultimately the thing that's always, in our back pocket is ultimately the flat earth. That's the thing that I would say I'm the most bitter about. And I'm bitter towards God, because there's no way that my high school teachers or even my parents conspired against that, because they had no idea. The same as me. They didn't think about it, just like everybody, in this generation, people are, roughly my age or the generation prior, they didn't think about it because all the material was just handed to them. Okay, same with me. And so, at this point, it's not a practical thing to blame them, because I know that I didn't think about it. So why would I expect them to have thought about it and like, oh, they planned to manipulate me? That's obviously not the case. And so God has to have been behind it. And so no other religious text, at least that I've seen, states that the deceived and the deceiver are his. And so there's no other God out there who's taking credit for that. And so that's why it's an all or nothing thing for me, is that it is ultimately atheism, if the God of the Bible is not the one behind all this, and stuff. Because if there's a God that's above this God, this false God of the Bible, that God would be sick. Okay, he would be mentally deranged. And so you would want to be destroyed by that God, or like get rid of him, kind of thing. Because he's essentially created every false religion, okay, and then got a group of people to like, invest their, their life, their spirituality, their spiritual future, ultimately their soul into one thing. And then that ends up being false. Okay. And then we know all the other people their spirit's not right. Okay. We don't get a good sense of them. So ultimately the entire earth was just a part of a fraud, like all of it. And so the quote unquote truth was nowhere accessible to us anywhere, not in a book or a person or just even in our own thoughts. Because again, a lot of us assumed, throughout our whole life we were on a ball until something changed that. Okay. And then there would be no explanation for that, for example, like in the Bible, like there is right now currently. So that would be a very, very sick God, and I don't regret saying that. These people are like, oh, the angels are recording you because I said if America is not Mystery Babylon, mystery, comma, like whatever, they get it. This is the same thing ball earthers do when you debate them. They're like, oh no, that's not the way it's it's not quite like that. They'll start like nitpicking. This is what God's left hand side does. They start becoming like grammar Nazis. Okay, and like these people like are not. If you listen to one of their or read one of their messages, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know how to form a complete sentence. And then now all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's mystery, comma, Babylon. Like they're getting into all these details. Absolutely ridiculous. But I told them, that if America is not the place that's being described in Revelation 17:18, the Bible is like a joke. So what's the point of reading it? It's a waste of time. And so it's the same if the earth is a ball, spinning ball. Like if it's just spinning, okay, because that's not what the Bible says is happening. So then the Bible's a joke, all of it. Okay, we're living in those days. It's very, very clear that, it's either one or the other. There's no, half of it's true. Or like, I'll take 75% of the Bible. No, the Bible itself states that all of it is true. Okay, Christ comes in the volume of the book. Okay, and so if all of it is, is representing God, then if one part of it is patently false, then we reject all of it. Okay, that's what it wants us to do. Okay, and then if God himself is a false prophet in not following through what he says and going to do in Revelation, then we're told to reject that God or anything or a person, not fear them. So that's what the God of the Bible is telling us to do, and so he's letting us know, okay, to use common sense. So, just know we have to, the God of the Bible is consistent. Okay, he's not going to hold all these other man to a certain standard and then just he's allowed to be a hypocrite and just say whatever he wants and all that and not follow through. That's the complete opposite of the way God is that all these people are liars and then God is not a liar. And so, just know that we have many, many examples where, we hold God to this same standard, and he has no issues with that. That's why he wrote it, okay? So we can expect it. Deuteronomy 18:21-22, and if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. It's the same thing with God. The book of Revelation, if it doesn't come to pass, the mark of the beast, the two witnesses, mystery Babylon being destroyed, everything, mystery, Babylon, okay, whatever these people want to say, those things don't happen, then we shall not be afraid of the God of the Bible, okay? But God says we're supposed to fear him, okay? So, but if he doesn't come through with that, then he's telling us here in Deuteronomy 18 that just ignore it, okay? And so that's exciting times that we live in now, is that that's one thing I said in the chat with those guys, and I think ETT was there listening, was like, the doctrine, everybody's doctrine is going to be proven or disproven in the sky at this point, okay? Because Christ is prophesied to return, Revelation 1:7, and literally everywhere in the Bible. And so it's going to be evident. And so these debates are strictly just to pass time, and then maybe to get a few sound bites and all that. And for me personally, at times, to reaffirm my teaching is true. And again, I don't need it, because I know for a fact that the two men in Acts 1:10-11 are the two witnesses. And there's no way I can undo that, because God told me that, okay? And so there's if you don't know that, the Bible will never make sense. You could sit on a debate 24 hours a day for every day and have written all these books, Jack Van Impe, Hal Lindsey, all these people in the past. You could be Tahar, you can be Naz from TR or ITR, whatever, you can be anybody. But if you don't know that, then the Bible won't make sense. It will not. And I know that now, and so that is a treasure. And so that's what it boils down to at this point for me, because that's the only thing that I've heard where somebody has cited God and then explained how it obviously fits and described the experience and then proven it, in the entire Bible. And then, it's fitting, for sure. And it's timely and all that kind of stuff, with all the other things going on, the mark of the beast and mystery Babylon being revealed. It's not a mystery anymore, okay? The flat station earth and all that other stuff, roars and uproars of the people and all that. So, that's the times that we live in, for me. And so if that's not the case, then the Bible's not true, in my opinion, because the two witnesses have to be what I say it is. And it's not what I said, it's what God told me, but it's what I teach. It has to be the case. And then I would assume that I was told that because it involves me, because then Christ will return while I'm here in the body. And so I'm inclined to say that at this point, and it becomes more and more clear every day, that if Christ does not return when I'm in the body, then the Bible is not true. That's the way it is for me, okay? And no one else will say that. And so, because they haven't cited God, in whatever they're saying, mystery Babylon is this, okay, well, did God tell you that? Okay, are you going to put your life behind it? And if that's not true, then are you going to face the consequences of that? And then on all the topics, the mark of the beast and all that kind of stuff, these people are goofing around saying the mark of the beast is a microchip. If that's not true, then what it says here, God says, don't fear that person, okay? And so don't care, okay? Just don't even take them seriously. Laugh at them or do whatever you want to do. In the past, they would get stoned, but, we don't live in those kind of times, because, everybody's a false prophet ultimately, except God's elect, okay? Because they're the only people that have the truth, because they were sealed. And so they're going to be able to speak about Christ's return, because it's going to be in their lifetime. And so they're the only people that can say that, and no one else in human history has ever been able to say that with boldness and say, Christ will return while I'm in the body. And so that's telling to me that you need one of them. It doesn't matter who it is. If somebody else was doing it on YouTube and proved it in the Bible, I'd be like, it's going to happen then. Because it checks out. Okay, everything that they're saying is in the Bible and it's consistent. I'll be like, yeah, it's that or nothing. Okay, it doesn't have to be me. It's anybody that I would see. I would, and they seem like a genuine person and they obviously proved it and we could go verify it. I would be like, yeah, I would make plans accordingly. And then if it's not true, then I would make plans accordingly, that kind of thing. So that's what's going on. And so all these sort of things at this point are a bit sort of cosmetic, except for a person's position on the mark of the beast, because that trumps even the shape of the earth now at this point, because a lot of us know that the earth is flat stationary. And so it leads us to want to know, well, how's that going to get fulfilled? Or is it being fulfilled right now? And that kind of thing. But I think it's very, very obvious for people. Again, all these people are what I call market makers. And so, their job is to create hangouts and conversations and all that. And I'm not saying it's wrong to do it and go in there. It's, you learn what the other side is. At the very beginning of those bald earth, flat earth debates, I was looking back on, just thinking about those earlier, going on Non Sequitur and Godless Engineers channel and all that. Like, I was in a weak position, just me personally, because I wasn't sure, the science, the physics, and, and then, the theology, of course. But now it's like everything's overflowing on that. They wouldn't even allow people like me to go on those debates, because, like, first of all, we know the earth doesn't move, and we know that that's absolute nonsense. So we would just laugh at them, which is what we do now. And then we laugh at the flat earthers now, because they're like, why are you guys even debating lasers and all? Who cares? Okay, it's like, I'm not saying it's wrong to do laser tests to reaffirm, but there's already so many of them. It doesn't make sense. And then you have the black swan, but just in general, we know the earth doesn't move. Okay, so gravity doesn't work. And so if a person wants to believe that, then that's fine. Okay, let them. No, I would just, at this point, I'll be like, okay, no big deal. You, Kyle, and all those people on Steve McRae and all those people, you want to believe that? That's fine. Go for it. Okay. No worries. And so, Kyle's initials are KC, which is 11 times 3 is 33. And so these people are just actors. And Steve McRae even said that his father or grandfather is a Freemason. Okay. And so, like, these people are obviously on God's left-hand side. Godless Engineer, needless to say, he's just out of his mind. So I would not be surprised if he has a 33 name, like CM or WL or WM or something like that. Who knows what his name is in real life. Let's see if we can find it. These people are just actors. The irony is his name is John Gleason. Okay, that's funny. And he claims to be an ex-Christian. Okay, which there's a lot of, I didn't even realize that was his name. But, there's some irony in that with the, the Gleason map. Okay, and all that kind of stuff. So that's funny. So these people are all just actors. Okay, that's their role, is to be part of these markets. Okay. But, it was just incredible looking back at those debates at the beginning. I was like, and Craig McNeil, sorry, Fight the Flat Earth, that's CM, that's 33. And Soundly is LC, I believe. So he's 33. And Conspiracy Cats is CC, 33. These people are just actors. But, I was like, I wouldn't say nervous, but like I was in a weak position, because Flat Earth wasn't out the way it is now. And then it's backed by a lot of real science, and real tests, and the Bible, most importantly, and then common sense. Okay, that the earth doesn't move. So like the whole debate of the shape is somewhat a moot point. So, that's amazing. We've switched from being in a weak position to a very, very strong position very, very quickly. And so now it comes down to the mark of the beast, and so anybody out there who thinks that it's in the future is running a huge risk, because then you're prophesying something, like it says here, that will not come to pass, or has the risk of not coming to pass, and then you're subject to the plagues, according to Revelation 22. And so that's a big risk. And the reason that I essentially know that it is that all these people, other people like End Times Teacher and all that, it literally admits that he's an actor, and so I have some amount of respect for him for that. Revelation 22:18, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. So it's talking about in the last days. And so that's why they always say, you got to go through the Great Tribulation. You got to go through the Great Tribulation, because they're baiting people in it, because they know that they're not part of the elect. And they call that salvation for the elect a secret rapture, which is actually true. It is a secret, okay? It's a secret only to the people in Revelation 7. And so there's no reason why a person would take the risk and prophesy something that's clearly not what the Bible is getting at, when what's going on right now violates multiple of God's laws, not just one. So it's a slam dunk that it has to be. And so the only reason a person would take that unnecessary risk is if they're an actor. Okay. And so they have to do that because that's their role. So that's what we know now. And so that makes sense. And so that's why, I mean, it's pretty much all or nothing for a Bible person. And the nice thing about it is that we're not really giving up anything. Again, if you're giving up like a great life and a great future, and like the economy was actually healthy, but now this thing popped up worldwide, be like, well, damn. But the thing is explaining and needed to narrate the economy tanking. Okay, so it's like literally like it's a sinking ship that they're asking you to like stay on board or something like that, you know, when like Christ represents this like vessel, even if it's not even real. It's like, I'd rather take my chances in that, just jump in the water, and then maybe God will save you, maybe he won't, kind of thing. And so that's because it's like, well, there's nothing there, you know, you're going in the water eventually. And that's what I asked them in the chat in that debate. I'm like, do you at least acknowledge that America's crumbling financially? And they won't talk about that. And so they won't address that. And so, because they're just actors, they're agents. And so whether you believe America is Mystery Babylon or not, or Revelation 17 and 18, that doesn't change the fact that America is clearly crumbling financially. So the only question now is God going to be the one that pushes it over the edge, so to speak? Because that's what it says that he's going to do in Revelation 16. And in my teaching is it's by the two witnesses in Revelation 11. But either way, those plagues in Revelation 16 have not happened yet. No one teaches that. Even they would understand that it's in the future because it's worldwide. You know, these the vials. So, you know, it's somewhat cosmetic, even to some extent, what Mystery Babylon is. It's very important, obviously, to understand the full narrative and the sequence, and to understand other ways, you know, in the Bible, you know, other times it's referenced, like in 2nd Ezra and Obadiah and all that. But you know, it's like ultimately now what they said was correct. And one thing they said was like, all that matters now are the plagues, you know, because God's angels are going to be doing them. So it doesn't matter who you debated and sparred and won and all that. I beat End Time Teacher twice in a debate. So, okay, then I avoid the sword. No, that's not the way it's going to work. Okay, these things are all predetermined. So, you know, they're right about that statement that they made. But they have to be careful, you know, because if they're teaching that Mystery Babylon is Rome or something, or the Vatican or whatever, and then that ends up not being true, then that's a false prophecy. You know, then they're taking away from the book, because if America is Mystery Babylon, it's prophesied to get destroyed. And so verse 19, if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away as part of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things that are written, and from the things which are written in this book. So they're even worse off than 18. They're on God's left-hand side, and they're just going to get destroyed. Okay. And so not like anybody in 18 has a chance anyway, because they're going to get the sores, but you never know. Okay. They may go through the Great Tribulation, but you don't want to be in 19. That's for damn sure. You don't want to take away from the words of the book, which essentially means you ignore it. Okay. And it says in Enoch 94 that God's going to enjoy destroying people who don't even consider what he says. They're like, yeah, whatever. God doesn't exist and all that kind of stuff. No big deal. All that kind of stuff. We're on a spinning ball. Just continue to spin and fly through the atmosphere. So, you know, that's the times that we live in now. And you know, the proof is going to be in the sky. And, you know, what an amazing time, you know, where it will never happen in human history where all these things are coming together at the same time. The deception's being undone, largely from the flat earth. And then, you know, we have a candidate for the mark of the beast. We have at least one person who's explaining the Bible, you know, like me. And so the elect are sealed. You know, it's very, very clear to me that that's the case. And, you know, I don't know, like all these things. And so the lies and the deception are so ridiculous that, you know, and God is the one, now we know, you know, because the Christian church certainly does not teach this, but we know that God's behind it, you know. And then even the Hebrews are sort of taking their foot off the gas on this teaching that the Most High is in control of all this. And so he's behind this current narrative because he's identifying his left-hand side, and he doesn't need a round two, okay, to do it. Yeah, you know, the first was a warm-up or whatever. No, it's like we know the people that are not teaching what's going on right now properly. You're in on it, okay? You're part of Job 12:16. You're part of the deceived or the deceiver, whichever one. It doesn't matter. You're one of the other, and so we don't care at this point categorizing you. Are you actually deceived, or are you like the deceiver? Either way, you're just deceived. You're stupid. So we don't care which one it is. The only people that I ultimately care about are the people that are not deceived. The Bible calls them the elect. Okay, And so that's the people that join here. Okay. And we're comfortable. I'm comfortable where I am. Okay. Like I'm comfortable with my position on the shape of the earth, the mark of the beast, the two witnesses, and all that. It's never going to change. Certainly not in the next 2 months. And so the only thing that's on the line right now is the Bible true? First and foremost. And if the Bible is true, the only question we ultimately should want to know is, when is Christ going to return? And so, and then the next question would be like, how'd you make all these actors? Okay, that's the next thing I'll be asked, if like Christ returns. The first question I have, like, how do you make these people like actors, terrible actors? Okay, they're just talking nonsense, gibberish back and forth, and they don't quote God in anything and all that. It's like, where is that factory? Okay, how'd you construct an actor? And so that kind of thing. So that's all I care about. Ultimately, those two things are the only pressing questions for me at this point. And so, if the Bible's not true, then I can't come back from that. I cannot. There's no way to undo that. I can't go and apologize to all the people that I've spewed all these lies out to throughout my life, and calling everybody an idiot and all that kind of stuff. Like, I can't come back from that, because like I'm the idiot then. I'm the chief idiot, because I thought I was the quote 144 or whatever. I was sitting on the top of this Bible knowledge. Turns out I was standing on dog doo-doo. Okay, so like, who's the real idiot? Okay, me. I'd be the chief idiot then. Okay, and so I don't know. I could not and would not be able. I don't even know how to undo that. In Control Z on your keyboard, I couldn't undo that. And like, the only thing that's fitting for me then is to exit stage left. Okay, people know what I mean by that. It's just impossible, especially somebody like me, with people, the way that people know my personality is. I mean, I cannot come back from that. If somebody literally declared something else is true, okay, Christ didn't exist, let's just say, that would obviously falsify the whole Bible, or the earth was a spinning ball, would do it as well. Then my bad. Okay, I don't know what to say. Like, I can't undo that. I've said too many things to offend people, and when it would have been, I'm the problem. And not only that, I'm the biggest problem, because then I would be holding people back from a thing right now that they maybe should be taking seriously, kind of thing. But I'm not, because I don't believe that that's for me, so, and that kind of thing. So that's a very fine line that I'm walking. But again, I would have more and more confidence every day that we're obviously living in the narrative governed by the Bible. The only question at that point is, like I said, is salvation. When is it? Are we going to actually see it? Is it going to be us, our eyes blessed to see it? And then God literally, how did you make all these actors? Okay, like, how did you do that, or whatever? Like, he clearly did it for a particular purpose, and he's obviously very angry at them, because he's tagging them and then burning them. He's going to put sores on them first, then burn them. So he doesn't like them, and so I don't like them either. Okay, like, I find a majority of the truth community are full of actors. So he definitely hates all the other people, and so, because they don't even care what he says at all, and so they're not even inclined to it. So like, the whole place is like, it's literally, all of it makes sense. It's going to get burned if the Bible is indeed the Word of God. So that's pretty much it. At this point, like, it's pretty much the mark of the beast. And so the thing that's I like about my situation is that for me to proclaim that here on YouTube, and then anybody who would listen, they're like, hell no. I'm talking about even people who haven't, taken it. Even people like Kyrie Irving, though, he can't go and say that to people, and like, even if he believes that that's what it is, he can't go and say that, publicly and all that kind of stuff. Like, and so, to some extent, we can't either. I don't care. But in the sense that no one's going to listen. Okay. And then if you do say that to anybody, they're going to be like, I'm not ever hanging around you. In fact, like, I want to, like, identify you or something, so that somebody can come and talk to you or whatever, like put you in jail or something like that. And so that's what it is. Okay. Because if it is the mark of the beast, then all that's coming next is a tremendous amount of tribulation. Okay. And so what the Bible calls great tribulation. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be really, really bad, because they've already gotten like billions of people on this. And so that's all God needs, according to the Bible, is that it's not going to go out worldwide prior to Christ's return, because he's going to put sores on people who've taken it, but then also, those who worship the beast. So it's not going to go out, to everybody. prior to Christ returning. And the first went out and poured out its vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark, and upon them which worshipped the image. So it can't go out to everybody, because there's a group that's exempt from the hour of temptation. So it's going to go out to some percentage, okay, and then it has to get paused, okay, in the very least, because it has to go out to some, according to this verse. And then Revelation 3, 10 and 11 say that there's a group that's exempt from the hour of temptation. And so they're exempt from this wrath, okay? So they're not going to be on the earth when all these sores are happening. And so, that's pretty much now, okay? Because Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And so we're living in a fine balance right now, where the mark of the beast cannot be anything in the future, because what's going on now fits the prophecies, and it violates God's laws, multiple, okay? And so it obviously has to be it, or else the Bible's not true. And then, we're running up against this prophecy now, where Revelation 3 verse 10, and then Revelation 18:4, and many verses that 1 Thessalonians 5:9, and many verses that remind us that God's elect are taken away prior to the wrath, prior to this hour of temptation. And so that's the saddle point that we live on right now. And so every day that goes by, the Bible looks more and more true, but it also looks more and more false. Because if Christ doesn't return during some time between the mark of the beast starting and then not going out fully, then the Bible's not true. And so if this just goes out to like a majority and they achieve herd immunity worldwide and then just keeps going, then the Bible's not true. And so just ignore it as a comic book at that point going forward for people who are here, which I won't be, but that's the way it is. That's the situation that we're in right now, and that's why I'm fully expecting Christ to return while I'm here in the body. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.